He's also written a song for me.
There were times when I felt like running away, but that's too easy. So now carry on. You ain't heard nothing yet. If you think I never sing another song, never shed another tear, then wait, you could be wrong. If you think
I can be very nervous backstage and say, oh my God, I can't go on, and be dying and sick of nerves. And then I hear my introduction, and I walk on stage, and the spotlight hits me, and it's magic. I become another person. I am not Shirley Bassey. When I was married, I wasn't married kind of thing when I was on the stage. I had no children, and I was this other person.
I have nothing. I have no one. Adore you and want you so. And it's no one with nothing to give you but all. I love you.
Success is, in a way, it ruins you, really. It ruins your personal life and relationships, especially for a woman. Because it is a very selfish business, you know, because you have to put so much concentration into that, what you're doing, and you can't have any distractions. So for a husband and children, it's very tough. It's very difficult to have a relationship. I think they're afraid to be with a successful woman because we're terribly strong. We know what we want, and we're not fragile enough for them, you know? And that's what ruins a relationship, is the success. That broke up my marriage, and it didn't help my children any, because
I think basically it was quite tough. I found it very difficult. I think we all did. We didn't like to see her go away, and so we would tend to sort of disappear once the suitcases start to come out and the packing proceeded. She isn't very maternal. She freely admits it. She finds it quite hard. The mothering role is quite hard to her. But you do get used to it. It becomes a sort of way of life, really. You know she's got to do it. It's her work. And you have to learn to accept that, really, she's very famous for being Shirley Bassey, more famous for being Shirley Bassey than she is for being a mum. I think she would like very much to be able to combine the two roles, but she does find it very hard. There was 9 years between me and my sister, so we weren't very sort of compatible age-wise. Samantha and I were very different. We had very different characters. She was quite noisy, gregarious, happy-go-lucky, a bit of a rebel. She didn't like to conform. And I think Mum could see Samantha and see herself. And when she died, it was, of course, a great shock. I mean, it really was. And the way in which she died.
Shirley Bassey at the funeral of her youngest daughter, whose body was found in the River Avon on Saturday. Among the flowers, Miss Bassey left a single red rose.
We had added pressure from the media, which didn't help us come to terms with it. And I think, really, Mum took everything inward and couldn't sing for a while. Her voice became very, very dodgy, and that was like an added thing that she had to cope with.
I was grieving, you know, for Samantha through my singing. There was an anger there, I suppose, a guilt. And I didn't give myself time enough to grieve. And I believe I'm sure that's what did it. Because there wasn't, otherwise why did it just go? There was no reason. I wasn't sick, you know. I think it was just anger and guilt.
Shirley was going through a very traumatic time of her life, and we were on stage at the Sydney Entertainment Centre in front of 10,000 Australians.
And I walk out on stage and the spotlight picks me up. And I got to the mic and I opened my mouth to sing Goldfinger, and I went, it was terrifying.
Looks at me and I said, what's wrong? She said, my voice, I'd lost my voice. So I took her off stage, took her into the dressing room. She's very, very distressed.
I just could not move. I went into shock. And a doctor came from the audience, and he was sending for, does anybody, can you get some lemon and honey? And I drink this. And then after 3 minutes, mind you, the audience is still waiting out there. You tried. This went on for half an hour, 40 minutes, and in the end they had to tell the audience that I was too sick to go on. And they were wonderful, I must say. They felt so sorry, and Michael had to do the announcement, you know.
And to my great surprise, the whole audience applauded. The whole audience applauded. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I thought that, you know, that they might start throwing things.
The rest of the tour was cancelled. I flew back to London. I went to my own throat specialist. And I think he tried to make me feel better by saying, I have seen worse. I've seen yours, vocal cords worse. But I think he hadn't. And the next thing he said was, this might sound very strange to you, but because you've been in the business so long, and I would recommend a vocal coach. And I said, no, it doesn't sound strange at all. I'll try anything. You know, I was desperate at that moment.
And the first thing I asked her was, what vowel were you singing when your voice cut out? So she looked at me very politely, but I think she was thinking this woman's a raving lunatic. And I said, well, what was the word and the particular vowel? And she said, well, that's funny, it was E. And she demonstrated singing E with her mouth open very wide, the lips drawn back from the teeth. And I said, well, never again in your life sing an E like that. Because when you do so, the back of the mouth assumes a similar position, and it's quite the wrong sort of shape for singing.
She put me through, you know, the vocals, and some days they were very difficult and little tantrums, you know, but she had such patience, and she nursed me through, and this was on and off for about a year. She made me tapes to travel with so that I could practice. And I have my Helena tapes with me everywhere. So she travels around the world with me. You know, her voice travels on these tapes.
In fact, she's so determined that although apparently she frequently kicks the tape recorder when she's listening to my exercises, she always does them right in the end.
And I do this every day for about 40 minutes before I go on stage to make sure that will never happen again. Because that was one hell of a scary moment when I thought, it's all gone. Sometimes when I feel afraid, I think of what a mess I've made of my life. Crying over my mistakes, forgetting all the breaks I've had in my life. I was put on earth to be a part of this great world. It's me and my life. Guess I'll just add up the score and count the things I'm grateful for in my I think whatever tragedy that I've had in my life, after I've gotten over the shock of it, I turned it around and turned it into something creative.